grab your air fryer because we are making double pork meatballs. Yes, not one type of pork, but two. Pork mince and smoked bacon deliver a protein-packed feast, and we're going to pair them with a homemade tomato and basil sauce. They're delicious, simply served with vegetables, with pasta, or you could elevate your lunch to a whole new level if you pop them into a sandwich. Hey, I'm nutritionist Scott Bapty, and welcome to my Food for Fitness kitchen. Now, I freaking love making meatballs. Yes, they require a bit of prep, but they're juicy, delicious, and super versatile. Like many of you, I also love using my air fryer, and it is a great way to cook meatballs. It ensures they're cooked evenly throughout and not raw in the middle and burnt on the outside. It stops them falling apart, and it only takes about 12 to 15 minutes as well. I'm also going to show you how to make a super yummy tomato and basil sauce, which is ready in under 15 minutes. So we're going to put our meatballs in the air fryer, get to work on our sauce, and it is an absolute winner of a combo. Right, let's go cook. People often make two mistakes when doing homemade burgers or meatballs. One, they chop up the onion too large and you end up having these huge chunks falling out your burger or meatball. And the second thing is they don't cook it first. So what we're going to do is chop up our onion nice and small and do the same with some bacon medallions, and we're going to pan fry these until they start to crisp up. The reason why we do this and don't just put in the raw onion is it gives it a much nicer flavor, and it gives the meatball a better texture and stops it falling apart. At this point in the video, it would also be awesome if you could just click that like button. It is nothing to do with my ego, it just means the video is more likely to be seen by more people. Thank you very much. Anyway, back to the recipe. Once the bacon and onions are nicely cooked and smelling delicious, I love the smell of bacon and onions, just add them to a bowl. Then to that bowl, we're going to add the remaining ingredients to make these meatballs. We are using about 10 grams of garlic, minced or pureed, along with a teaspoon of dried oregano, 70 grams of fresh breadcrumbs, not the golden kind. The reason why we use breadcrumbs is not as a cheap filler, it just helps hold moisture. Add an egg, that helps to bind things, and then we are putting in our second type of pork, and that is pork mince, which is super lean and it's very economical, and I love using it. Season with some salt and pepper, and then make sure your hands are nice and clean and your fingernails are nice and trimmed so you don't get pork mince under them. And stick your hands into the bowl and make sure everything is nicely combined. Then once everything is mixed through, start making your meatballs. A tip to make them all even is to just divide all the mixture up. So we're doing 16 meatballs, so divide the mixture into half, into quarters, and so on, and keep doing it that way rather than just pinching off a little bit from the mixture and making a meatball. That means you'll get 16 evenly sized meatballs. And then pop them onto your rack to go in the air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, you can cook these in the oven or pan fry them. But if you've got one, then put them on the rack and stick them in the air fryer 190 degrees for about 12 to 14 minutes. While they're cooking, let's make a sauce. So fry an onion and garlic, and then add some chopped tomatoes and chicken stock, along with a teaspoon of balsamic vinegar and fresh basil. You can cook this while your meatballs are in the air fryer. Make sure you turn them in the air fryer halfway through, but this sauce only takes like 10 to 15 minutes. Once everything has been added, keep the heat on a pretty high temperature. A lot of people are scared of cooking on a high temperature because things burn, but if you do keep it on a high temperature, it just allows the sauce to like caramelize and thicken up and get delicious. Just make sure you keep stirring it. Then when the meatballs are ready and looking delicious, you can remove them from the air fryer, and then all you're going to do is just dump them into that sauce. Now the sauce should be nice and thick, so it should really coat the meatballs, and once you are mixing it through, make sure not to leave any of that thick, slightly burnt bits to the side of the pan. This is just loaded in flavour and really helps elevate the sauce, so make sure you scrape them in, don't leave them in the pan. And then all you need to do from this point is just plate them up. You can serve these with vegetables, with pasta, or if you're doing what I'm doing the next day, you can serve them in an epic roll and have a meatball sandwich. How good is that? So there we have it, delicious double pork air fryer meatballs and a homemade tomato and basil sauce. Absolutely stunning. I hope you enjoy this recipe, and as always, please do remember to click that like button before you go. It's absolutely nothing to do with my ego. The reason I ask you to do this is because it just allows this video to be seen by more people. If you click like, YouTube's more likely to show it to more and let people get a taste of this recipe themselves. Anyway, I'm off to go and eat this. Thank you again. I'll speak to you later.